bring you this morning's news update. I will be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. We'll start with what's happening in the papers today. A government slashes grants to UPE USE schools. Over 13,000 government-aided schools have been affected. The government has slashed grants. Get the details in today's New Vision. Today's Judgment Day for Ruto and Odinga. Full stories inside. Museveni extends financial support to victims, to bomb victims that were affected last year during the bomb blast that happened at the CPS and the Parliamentary Avenue. There is a story of who got help, financial help, and all that. They also bring you maths and physics exams, senior 4 mocks, and they also bring you the First Lady floods of food donation to Karamoja. It's in the New Vision today. Orphans seek help to achieve his dreams. Get yourself a copy of the New Vision and also see how many companies are offering over 160 jobs and tender offers. There are opportunities at National Building Review Board and Kakira Sugar Limited, among others. If you're looking for the day for a job, get yourself a copy and you will get yourself a job. And in the Daily Monitor today, judge in pay dispute blames witch hunt. Supreme Court Judge Esther Chisache, who is in the eye of a storm of allegations of earning without working, has said she's a victim of discrimination masterminded by individuals within and outside the judiciary. Details are in the Daily Monitor. Anxiety as Kenya poll petition judgment out today. And also on health living, can Uganda meet its 2030 malaria elimination target? It's in today's Daily Monitor. And also about the Isimba Dam, China flies in experts. Beijing is deploying top energy and engineering experts to assess firsthand the nature and extend the defects on the 183 megawatts Isimba Dam, which was shut down for days last month. Ugandan embassies asked to raise cancer awareness. 5 dead as truck rams into Kadodi dancers, and also child torture video undergoes treatment. It's all in today's Daily Monitor. We'll now go straight into what's happening on the international scene. We'll start with what's happening in the Asian country of Sri Lanka. Their former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who fled abroad after mass protests in July, has returned to the country. Mr. Rajapaksa, who had been staying in Thailand on a temporary visit, flew back home via Singapore. Some Sri Lankan ministers are reported to have met him at the airport. Sri Lankans blamed his government for the island's worst economic crisis in history. A collapse in foreign currency led to dire shortages of food and fuel. Protests began in April following a sharp increase in food and fuel costs. Hundreds of thousands of people from all walks of life and all communities took part in the largely peaceful protests demanding the resignation of Mr. Rajapaksa and his elder brother Mahinda, the then Prime Minister, who quit in May. And also moving on, at least 20 people, including women and children, have been killed and food aid destroyed after militants attacked several vehicles in Somalia's central Hiran region. Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab has said it was targeting a government-affiliated armed group. Somalia is facing what experts call its worst drought in decades. Threat from Al-Shabaab militants who want to overthrow the central government also continues to grow. The Al-Qaeda-linked group controls much of southern and central Somalia, but has been able to extend its influence into areas controlled by the government, which is based in the capital, Mogadishu. 2 weeks ago, its fighters stormed a hotel in the city and killed more than 20 people. And in the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson's successor as UK Prime Minister will be revealed later when either Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak is named next Conservative leader. The winner of the leadership contest will be announced at 12:30 before they take up office tomorrow. The new Prime Minister inherits a flagging economy with inflation at a 40-year high. The press has been told that a menu of options has been worked up in Whitehall to help struggling households, including a freeze on energy bills. Industry resources are increasingly optimistic that the new Prime Minister will back plans to freeze the energy cap and the maximum price for domestic gas and electricity settled every 3 months by a regulator of GEM. This would necessarily require upfront government financing at the beginning, according to the editor Faisal Islam. And in Europe, Germany has announced a 65 billion euro package of measures to ease the threat of rising energy costs as Europe struggles with scarce supplies after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The package, with much bigger than 2 previous ones, will include one-off payments to the most vulnerable and tax breaks to energy-intensive businesses. Energy prices have soared since February invasion, and Europe is trying to wean itself off Russian energy. Ukraine has urged Europe to stand firm. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia was trying to destroy the normal life of every European citizen in his nightly address on Saturday, and added that Russia was preparing a decisive energy attack on all Europeans, and only unity among European countries would offer protection. And elsewhere, at least 10 people have been killed and another 15 injured in a stabbing rampage in Canada's central Saskatchewan province, according to police. The victims were found in 13 locations in the James Smith Cree Nation and nearby village of Weldon. 2 suspects named as Damien Sanderson and Miles Sanderson are on the run and considered armed and dangerous. Residents have been told to shelter in place as massive manhunt continues across a huge geographical area. Checkpoints have been set up with police checking travelers' identification, and drivers have been urged not to pick up hitchhikers. A state of emergency has been declared in the James Smith Cree Nation, an indigenous community with about 2,000 residents northeast of Weldon, where about 200 people live. And a dangerous personnel alert was set to all mobile phones across the provinces of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta, an enormous region almost half the size of Europe. Moving on, a private Sensan plan has crashed into the Baltic Sea of Latvia coast in a mysterious circumstance. NATO jets were scrambled to follow the plane on its erratic flight, which began in southern Spain. Officials say the plane believed to have had 4 people on board and had been due to land in Cologne, Germany, but instead headed out into the Baltic. NATO pilots and Swedish officials tracking the plane could see no one in the cockpit. Meanwhile, the Flight Radar 24 data tracking website has said the aircraft took off from the Spanish city of Jerez de la Frontera at 12:56. At 17:37, it was listed on the flight radar as losing speed and altitude. German newspaper Bild said the plane had reported cabin pressure problems after takeoff, and contact was lost after it had cleared the Iberian Peninsula. And finally, in Asia, Chinese motorists have joined a Chongqing wildfire battle. Throughout August, wildfires raged across parts of China, triggered by a record-long heat wave and drought. Thousands of firefighters were mobilized across the country. Around the southwestern city of Chongqing, which was one of the worst hit areas, local off-road motorcyclists joined the effort, transporting emergency workers and essential supplies to areas that were otherwise hard to reach. 2 other volunteers said that their efforts, and they talked about their efforts and coming face to face with the effects of climate change. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. Thank you for watching Channel 44. I remind you of the Karamoja Cry. This Thursday, we are having an all-out call on people to join us as we save the people of Karamoja. We'll be broadcasting it live on all media houses, major national media houses in Uganda. So do not miss that moment. Please prepare your seat. Prepare to listen from the man of God. prepare to partake of what is happening here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. And also I urge you to join us once again and send your seed to the numbers that will be availed during the different services. Please let us save our own people. They are dying of hunger, and it is our call to save them. I also remind you that the 77 days of glory are back. They kicked off yesterday, and today we are having the second day. Come and join us as we praise and worship God. There will be dream interpretation. There will be praise and worship. There will be prayer and intercession, and a lot of testimonies that will be heard of people that have gotten breakthroughs during the 77 days of glory. It is here once again. It is here for our good. It is here. The visitation of God is here. Please join us. We will meet again at 12:45 with fresh news in brief. I remain Masiga Shegusembacha. God bless you. Good morning.